I was staring at my wife's phone, watching 3 years of my life disintegrate in real time. The notification had lit up her screen while she was in the shower. Just a preview, really. But it was enough. More than enough. Last night was incredible. I can't stop thinking about you. When can we do it again? The sender's name was Tyler. Tyler Brennan. Her study partner from the MBA program she'd enrolled in 6 months ago. The same Tyler she'd mentioned maybe twice in passing, always casually, always briefly. My hands weren't shaking yet. That would come later. Right now, everything felt crystalline and sharp, like the world had suddenly come into horrible focus. I could hear the shower still running. Steam crept under the bathroom door. Rebecca always took long showers after her Tuesday night study sessions. I'd never questioned it before. Why would I? We'd been married for 7 years. Together for 10. High school sweethearts who'd actually made it work, or so I'd thought. I picked up her phone. No passcode. She'd never had one. "We don't keep secrets," she'd said once, laughing, when I'd suggested we both use them for security. The irony was suffocating. I opened the message thread. The first thing I saw was a photo she'd sent him. My wife, wearing lingerie I'd never seen before. Black lace that definitely wasn't from Target. The angle was deliberate, professional almost. This wasn't some spontaneous moment. This was planned. I scrolled up. The messages went back 4 months. 4 months. My brain tried to do the math automatically. How many Tuesday nights was that? How many times had she come home, kissed me hello, and crawled into our bed with his scent still on her skin? The shower shut off. I had maybe 3 minutes before she came out. 3 minutes to decide what kind of man I was going to be. The kind who confronted immediately, raw and emotional? The kind who played it cool, gathered evidence, planned his next move? I chose option 3. I took pictures. Lots of them. My phone's camera clicked silently as I documented everything. The messages. The photos she'd sent. The detailed descriptions of what they'd done in his apartment. The hotel receipts he'd sent her as proof of expenses for their accountant. Apparently, they were already planning some kind of future together where they'd need to hide affair-related costs from the IRS. The bathroom door opened. Steam billowed out, and Rebecca emerged in her bathrobe, toweling her hair. She was beautiful. That hadn't changed. 32 years old, and she could still turn heads anywhere she went. Auburn hair, green eyes, the kind of smile that had made me believe in fate when we were 16. "Hey, babe," she said, not looking up. "Did you eat already? I'm starving." I'd set her phone back exactly where she'd left it, face down on the nightstand. My phone was in my pocket, evidence secured. "Not yet," I said. My voice sounded normal. That surprised me. "How was studying?" "Exhausting." She sighed, dramatic and theatrical. "Tyler and I were going over merger acquisition strategies for 3 hours straight. My brain is fried." Tyler and I. She said his name so easily, like it meant nothing. "Sounds intense," I said. "You have no idea." She dropped the towel and started getting dressed. I'd seen her naked 10,000 times, but this felt different. Voyeuristic. Like I was looking at a stranger. This program is way harder than I expected. I don't know what I'd do without Tyler's help. "I bet," I thought. But I said, "You're lucky to have a good study partner." "I really am." She pulled on pajama pants, one of my old college t-shirts. The domesticity of it felt obscene. "He's brilliant. Probably the smartest person in our cohort." "Maybe I should meet him sometime," I said. Testing. She paused, just for a second. "Maybe. He's pretty busy, though. Works at Goldman, doing the MBA part-time." Goldman Sachs. Of course. I was a high school history teacher. I made $48,000 a year and coached JV basketball for an extra $2,000. Tyler Brennan probably made that in a month. Impressive, I said. Rebecca climbed into bed beside me. Our bed. The one we'd picked out together at IKEA 5 years ago, laughing at the Swedish names, eating meatballs in the cafeteria afterward. She kissed my cheek. Her lips were cold. I'm going to grab some leftover pasta, she said. Want some? I'm good. She left the room and I listened to her footsteps descending the stairs. Heard the refrigerator open, the microwave beep. I pulled out my phone and looked at the photos I'd taken. The evidence. In one message, Tyler had written, "Tell him you're studying late again. I need you here. I need to taste you again." Her response, "I will." He never questions it. He trusts me completely. She was right. I had trusted her completely. Past tense. I opened my laptop and created a new folder. Labeled it Tax Documents 2024 because Rebecca never looked at our taxes. I uploaded all the photos there, then backed them up to 3 different cloud services. Then I started researching divorce attorneys in our area. We lived in Pennsylvania. I knew that much. I knew we had a joint checking account with about $12,000 in it. I knew we'd bought this house 3 years ago, still owed $190,000 on the mortgage. I knew Rebecca's parents had given us $20,000 for the down payment. What I didn't know was how any of this worked when your wife decided to blow up your entire life for some finance bro with a Goldman Sachs business card. I was about to learn. I close the browser tab on the divorce attorney's website and stare at the ceiling. Rebecca's still downstairs. I can hear the faint clink of her fork against the plate, the hum of the refrigerator opening and closing. Normal sounds. Domestic sounds. The sounds of a life that ended 4 months ago, only I'm just now learning about it. My phone buzzes. A calendar reminder. Suit pickup, 4 p.m. Thursday. Right. The suit. I'd almost forgotten about it. Dropped it off at that little tailor shop in the Marina District last month when I was out in San Francisco for a teaching conference. The hem had come undone, and the hotel concierge recommended a place 2 blocks over. I'd planned to pick it up on my way back through the city this week for another conference session. The timing feels surreal. In 2 days, I'll be standing in a tailor's shop in San Francisco, picking up a suit for a life that's already over. Thursday comes. Rebecca kisses me goodbye at the door, tells me she'll miss me, asks if I'll be back tomorrow night or Saturday morning. I tell her Saturday, give myself more time. She smiles, touches my face, says she loves me. I don't say it back. She doesn't notice. The flight to SFO is 3 hours of staring at clouds and thinking about thread. How everything unravels from a single loose end. How you don't notice the damage until you're already coming apart. The conference session is a blur. Something about incorporating primary sources into curriculum design. I nod at the right times, take notes I'll never read. At 3:45, I leave early and walk to the tailor shop. It's a narrow storefront wedged between a coffee place and a dry cleaner, the kind of business that's been there for decades. Gold lettering on the window, precision tailoring. A bell chimes when I open the door. The shop smells like steam and starch. Fabric bolts line the walls. A woman in her 50s stands behind the counter, pinning something to a dress form. She looks up, smiles. Help you? Picking up. Last name's... Oh wait, the charcoal suit? Hem repair? She's already moving toward the back. From Pennsylvania, right? I remember. Hang on. She disappears through a curtain. I hear hangers sliding on a rack, the rustle of plastic garment bags. When she returns, she's carrying my suit. But she's also frowning at a small paper ticket stapled to the bag. Sorry, she says. I just need to check something with my mom real quick. She did the actual work on this one. She calls toward the back in what sounds like Cantonese. An older woman emerges, maybe 70s, wearing reading glasses on a beaded chain. They have a brief exchange, the daughter pointing at the ticket, the mother squinting at it. Then the mother switches to English, looking at me apologetically. "I'm so sorry. I think I make small mistake." She unzips the garment bag and shows me the hem. The work is immaculate. You can barely see the stitching, but she's pointing to one of the buttons on the jacket. "This button," she says. "I replaced because original was loose, but I think I used wrong one for my collection. See? Slightly different color. Very close, but not exact match." She's right. The second button from the top is maybe half a shade darker than the others. You'd never notice unless you were looking for it. "It's fine," I say. "Really, it's—" No, I fix. I have better match and back. Just need few minutes." She's already reaching for the jacket. Her daughter touches her arm. "Mom, he's probably in a hurry. We can mail him the right button if—" "Is okay, I'm quick." The mother smiles at me. "You sit, I fix now. 5 minutes. I don't have anywhere to be." "Sure, thank you." I sit in one of the chairs near the window while the mother takes the jacket to her workstation in the corner. The daughter goes back to her dress form, and for a moment, the only sound is the tick of a wall clock and the snip of scissors. Then the daughter speaks, not looking up from her work. "Sorry about that. She's a perfectionist. Drives herself crazy over details no one else would notice." "It's fine. I appreciate the care. She's been doing this for 40 years. Still treats every piece like it's going to the Oscars or something." She pins a seam, steps back to examine it. Meanwhile, I'm over here mending my own blouses every other week. I make a polite noise, not really listening. "Seriously," she continues, laughing a little. "I go through more thread on my own clothes than on customer orders. My husband's always teasing me about it. 'You're a seamstress and your blouses keep ripping?' But it's always in weird spots. The shoulder seam, the side, the back. He's playful, likes to tug on things when we're—" She stops herself, clears her throat. "Anyway, occupational hazard, I guess." Something in my brain catches. The way she said it. Playful tugs. The slight hesitation. The quick subject change. I look at her more carefully. She's still focused on the dress form, but there's color in her cheeks now. "Must keep you busy," I say neutrally. "The repairs." "Oh, you have no idea. I've got a whole drawer of repair tickets for my own stuff." She laughs again, but it sounds forced. My sewing circle friends think it's hilarious. I'm always ducking out of our Tuesday meetings early to fix something that ripped. Tuesday meetings. The word hangs in the air like smoke. I don't say anything. The mother is still working on the button, humming softly to herself. The daughter pins another seam, unpins it, adjusts the fabric. "Actually," she says, and now she's definitely talking to fill silence. "Funny thing happened last week. I was repairing one of my blouses, navy silk, tore right along the shoulder seam, and I accidentally sewed on a button from my husband's shirt. Didn't even realize until later. Wrong color, wrong size, completely different style. I must have grabbed it from the wrong container." She's rambling. I recognize the pattern. The nervous over-explanation, the unnecessary details. I've heard it from students trying to explain missing homework, from Rebecca talking about her study sessions. "Easy mistake," I say. "Right? I mean, we've got buttons everywhere in this place. Could happen to anyone." She sets down her pins, picks them up again. "My husband didn't even notice when I wore it. Men never notice that stuff." "Some do," I say quietly. She glances at me, then away. The mother returns with the jacket, beaming. "There, perfect now. All buttons match." I stand, take the jacket, examine the repair. She's right, it's perfect. The hem is invisible, the buttons all identical. "Beautiful work," I say. "Thank you. What do I owe you?" Already paid when you drop off, the mother says. You're all set. I should leave. I should thank them and walk out and never think about this place again. Instead, I hear myself say, those repair tickets you mentioned, you keep them? For your own clothes? The daughter's hands still on the dress form. What? You said you have a drawer full, for the blouses that keep ripping. She's looking at me now, really looking, and I can see her trying to figure out where this is going. Yeah, I keep all our work orders. Why? Just curious, I say. About the times. Whether they match up with your sewing circle schedule. The color drains from her face. Her mother is looking between us, confused. I should go, I say, draping the suit over my arm. Thank you again for the repair. I'm at the door when the daughter speaks, her voice barely above a whisper. How did you know? I turn back. She's gripping the edge of the work table, and I can see her hands shaking. I didn't, I say. Not for sure, but I know what lying sounds like. I've been listening to it for 4 months. I walk out before either of them can respond. On the flight home, I think about buttons, how they hold things together, how one wrong button, one small mismatch, can reveal everything, how sometimes the thread breaks, and there's no repair that can make it whole again. I leave the tailor shop with my suit draped over my arm, the daughter's nervous laughter still echoing in my head. The mismatched button sits in my pocket like a small, hard truth. The conference ends Friday afternoon. I fly home that evening, landing at Philadelphia International just after 9. Rebecca picks me up at arrivals, her auburn hair pulled into a messy bun, wearing yoga pants and one of my old teaching conference t-shirts. She kisses me at the curb. How was San Francisco? She asks. Educational, I say. The drive home takes 40 minutes. She talks about her week, classes, study groups, a paper she's working on about corporate restructuring. I make appropriate sounds. My suit hangs in the back seat, the replacement button gleaming white and perfect against the navy fabric. At home, I hang the suit in our closet. Rebecca's already changed into pajamas, the same light blue set she's worn for 3 years. I notice the top button is different from the others. Slightly larger, a different shade of blue. The stitching around it looks newer. When did you replace that button? I ask. She glances down. Oh, last month? It fell off in the wash. I nod. Move to my dresser, start unpacking my conference bag. I'm exhausted, she says. Long week? I bet, I say. She's asleep within minutes. I lie beside her in the dark, staring at the ceiling, thinking about repair tickets and mismatched buttons and the way liars over-explain simple things. Saturday morning, Rebecca sleeps late. I make coffee, sit at our IKEA dining table with my laptop. The screenshots from Tuesday night are organized in a folder I've titled Conference Materials 2024. I scroll through them again, methodical. The timestamps, the locations, the promises Tyler makes about their future. One message catches my attention. Can't wait until you don't have to hide these anymore. That blouse looked better on my floor anyway. I close the laptop. Walk to our bedroom. Rebecca's still sleeping, her breathing deep and even. I open her side of the closet. The blouses hang in a neat row. I start examining them, one by one. A cream silk blouse with delicate buttons. The second one from the top is slightly different, the stitching fresh. A black sleeveless top with a small repair along the side seam, the thread not quite matching. A navy button-down with a hem that's been re-sewn, the stitches smaller and tighter than the original. I count 7 blouses with repairs. Small things. Easy to miss if you're not looking. In the pocket of a gray blouse, I find a receipt. Delancey Tailoring, Express Repair, 15 Slowers, Tuesday, 4:15 p.m. The date is 3 weeks ago. The same Tuesday she told me she had a late study session that ran until 8. I take photos of everything, The mismatched buttons, the fresh stitching, the receipt. Add them to my conference materials folder. Rebecca wakes around 10, finds me in the kitchen, reading the news on my phone. "Morning," she says, kissing the top of my head. "Want to do anything today?" "Actually," I say, "I was thinking we should go through our closets. Spring cleaning?" She pours coffee. "It's February. Early spring cleaning." She shrugs. "Sure, after breakfast?" We eat scrambled eggs and toast. She scrolls through her phone, smiling at something. I wonder if it's Tyler. Wonder if he's texting her right now, making plans for their next Tuesday. After breakfast, we start with her closet. I pull out blouses one by one, examining them like I'm considering donations. "This one's nice," I say, holding up the cream silk. "When did you get it?" "Christmas, I think, from my mom." I turn it over in my hands, running my finger along the buttons. "This button looks different." She barely glances at it. "Oh yeah, it came loose. I had it fixed." "Where?" "What?" "Where did you have it fixed?" She pauses, coffee mug halfway to her lips. There's a tailor shop near campus. Delancey something." "Delancey Tailoring?" "Yeah, that's it." I nod, hang the blouse back up. Pull out the black, sleeveless top. "This one too?" She's watching me now, a small crease forming between her eyebrows. "I don't remember. Maybe?" "You have a lot of blouses that needed repairs." "They're delicate fabrics. Things happen." "Things," I repeat. The word sits between us. She sets down her coffee mug. "What's this about?" she asks. I hold up the navy button-down. "This one has a torn hem, and this gray one has a replaced button, and this white one has a seam repair on the shoulder." I'm pulling them out now, one after another, laying them on our bed. 7 blouses, Rebecca, all repaired in the last 4 months. Her face has gone pale. So? So it's interesting. That's a lot of damage to delicate fabrics. I told you, things happen. They catch on things, buttons fall off. Playful tugs, I say. She blinks. What? That's what the tailor's daughter called them, when her husband pulls at her blouses during their Tuesday meetings. Rebecca's mouth opens, closes. I don't know what you're talking about. I pull the receipt from my pocket. Delancey Tailoring. Tuesday, 4:15 p.m. 3 weeks ago. You told me you had a study session until 8 that night. I did have a study session. I stopped at the tailor first. For 45 minutes? It was busy. Was it? I'm not asking. I pull out my phone, open the screenshots folder. Because Tyler seems to remember that Tuesday differently. Something about a hotel room downtown. The Belmont, I think. The color drains from her face completely. She reaches for the bed frame, steadying herself. Let me see that, she whispers. No. Please. No. She's crying now, mascara-less tears tracking down her cheeks. It's not. It wasn't supposed to. Wasn't supposed to what? Wasn't supposed to leave evidence. Wasn't supposed to tear your blouses. I pick up the cream silk, thread my finger through the buttonhole. This is from Tyler's shirt, isn't it? The mismatched button? The tailor sewed it on by mistake. She doesn't answer. Doesn't need to. I pull the button through the hole, slowly. The fabric stretches. 4 months, I say, pulling tighter. That's how long you've been lying to my face. I'm sorry. Tuesday study sessions. Pull. Late nights at the library. Pull. Coffee with your study group. The fabric is straining now, the threads beginning to separate. Every single Tuesday for 4 months. Please. I pull hard. The fabric tears, a clean rip through the buttonhole, the sound sharp in our quiet bedroom. Rebecca flinches like I've struck her. I drop the blouse on the bed. I'm going out, I say. When I get back, I want you to think very carefully about what you're going to tell me. Because right now, I have screenshots. I have receipts. I have repair tickets that match every Tuesday you claim to be studying. Where are you going? I don't answer. Just grab my keys and walk out. I drive to Target, buy a seam ripper from the craft section. The cashier, a teenager with blue hair, doesn't look at me twice. In the parking lot, I sit in my car and research Delancey Tailoring. They're open Saturdays until 4. It's noon now. I drive to campus. Find the tailor shop tucked between a coffee place and a dry cleaner. Through the window, I can see the elderly man working at his machine, the daughter nowhere in sight. The lunch rush is just starting at the coffee shop next door. Students pouring in and out, the line stretching to the door. I park across the street. Wait. At 12:30, the old man flips the "back in 30 minutes" sign and locks the door. He walks toward the coffee shop, moving slowly, his back bent. I wait until he's inside. Then I cross the street. The super glue is in my pocket. Industrial strength, the kind that bonds in seconds. I bought it last month to fix a broken picture frame. Never used it. I apply it carefully to the door frame, working quickly. The lock, the hinges, the entire seam where door meets frame. It takes less than 2 minutes. I'm back in my car before anyone notices. At home, Rebecca is sitting on the couch, still in her pajamas. Her eyes are red. "We need to talk," she says. "Yes," I say. "We do." I go to our bedroom, open her closet, pull out every blouse, every dress, every delicate piece of clothing she owns, lay them across our bed, our chair, every surface. Then I take out the seam ripper. I start with the cream silk. Find the seam along the side, insert the tiny blade, and pull. The thread parts like butter. I move to the shoulder seam, the sleeve, methodical and careful. Each stitch separating cleanly. Rebecca appears in the doorway. "What are you doing?" I don't answer. Move to the next blouse. "Stop," she says. "Please stop." The black sleeveless top comes apart in sections. Side seams, shoulder seams, the delicate hem. "You're destroying my clothes." "Unraveling them," I correct. "There's a difference." She rushes forward, tries to grab the seam ripper from my hand. I hold it away, continue working on the navy button-down. "This is crazy." "Is it?" I move to the gray blouse, the one with the receipt in the pocket. "You tore these apart with your lies. I'm just finishing the job." The fabric tears with a whisper. 7 blouses spread across our bed like evidence at a crime scene, and I'm holding the seam ripper I found in her sewing kit, the one she claims she never used because she wasn't crafty like her mom. Another lie in a wardrobe full of them. Rebecca stands in the doorway, still wearing her coat. She came home early, said something about a canceled study group. The irony would be funny if my hands weren't shaking. "What are you doing?" Her voice is small, uncertain. I don't look up. The seam ripper slides through the shoulder seam of a cream silk blouse, the one she wore 2 Tuesdays ago when she said the library stayed open late for midterm prep. The thread gives way like it's been waiting to confess. "I found the receipt," I say. "Delancey Tailoring, campus location." Silence. I can feel her calculating, trying to figure out what I know versus what I suspect. I can explain. February 14th. I move to the next blouse, navy blue. The seam ripper finds the side seam, starts pulling. "You said you were studying contract law, but you were at a tailor shop at 3:47 p.m. dropping off a blouse with a torn button." "It's not." February 21st. Another blouse. White cotton, professional, the kind she wears to presentations. Another repair. Timestamp says 4:15 p.m. You texted me at 4:30 saying you were deep in case studies and would be home late. I finally look at her. She's pale, her hand gripping the doorframe. March 7th, March 14th, March 21st. I pull each blouse toward me as I recite the dates. Every single Tuesday. Funny how your clothes kept getting damaged on study nights. You're being crazy. Am I? I pick up the green blouse, the one with the mismatched button. Hold it up to the light. This button is menswear. Dress shirt button, not a blouse button. You didn't even notice when the tailor sewed it on. Her face does something complicated. I watch her decide whether to keep lying or pivot to damage control. It's not what you think, she says, and I almost laugh. I know about Tyler. The words come out flat. I've known for a week. The color drains from her face completely now. She takes a step into the room, hands up like she's approaching something dangerous. Let me explain, please. It didn't mean anything. 4 months. I set down the green blouse, pick up another. Red, silk, expensive, a Christmas gift from her parents. That's how long you've been sleeping with him. 4 months of Tuesdays, study sessions. I find the repaired seam along the back, where the fabric had torn. Rough study sessions, apparently. How did you... Your phone. I start working the seam ripper along the repair. The tailor did good work, tight stitches, but they come apart easy enough when you know where to pull. You left it unlocked. I saw everything. The hotels, the pictures, the things you said to him. Rebecca's breathing changes. I hear it catch, restart. I was going to tell you, she says. I was trying to figure out how... You were trying to figure out if Tyler would leave Goldman for you. I moved to the next blouse. I read those messages too. Where you asked if he'd thought about what comes next. Where he said he needed to be smart about this because of his career trajectory. She's crying now. I don't look at her. I love you, she says. I made a mistake. Please. You made a choice. The seam ripper catches on a button. I work it free, let it fall to the floor. Every Tuesday for 4 months. That's not a mistake. That's a pattern. I stand up, gather the blouses. All 7 of them, repairs undone, seams split, buttons missing. I walk past her to the closet, where the rest of her wardrobe hangs in neat rows. What are you doing? Her voice rises. Those are my clothes. I'm finishing what you started. I pull out a dress. Black, professional, the one she wore to her first MBA mixer where she met Tyler. The seam ripper finds the zipper seam. You want to tear apart our marriage? Fine, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend everything's normal while you patch up the evidence. You're insane. I went to the tailor shop. I keep working. Another dress, another seam. The one in San Francisco where I picked up my suit. The seamstress there, young woman, nervous. She kept explaining why her blouses were torn. Playful tugs, she said. Tuesday sewing circles. I pull out another dress. That's when I understood. The lies you people tell yourselves. Like if you get the clothes repaired, if you cover the evidence, it didn't really happen. Rebecca grabs my arm. Stop it, please. We can fix this. I shake her off, gentle but firm. You can't fix this. You tore it. Every time you went to his apartment. Every time you came home and kissed me with his cologne still on your skin. Every time you let me believe we were okay. The seam ripper moves through fabric like water. Dresses, skirts, blazers. I'm not destroying them, not really. Just undoing the seams, returning them to pieces. I'll call the police, she says, but there's no conviction in it. And tell them what? That your husband is taking apart your clothes after you cheated on him for 4 months? I pull out her favorite dress, the emerald one she wore to our anniversary dinner last month. The one she wore before meeting Tyler the next Tuesday. Go ahead. I'm sure they'd love to hear about it. She's sobbing now, full body shaking. Part of me, the part that loved her for 10 years, wants to stop, wants to hold her, wants to believe we can survive this. But I keep seeing that text. Miss you already. Tuesday can't come fast enough. I keep seeing the hotel receipts. I keep seeing the lies. The emerald dress comes apart in my hands. The seam ripper is methodical, efficient. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just done. I filed for divorce this morning, I say. My attorney has copies of everything. The messages, the photos, the hotel receipts, the tailor receipts too, actually. Turns out those help establish a pattern. Rebecca slides down the wall, sits on the floor. You can't. We can work this out. Pennsylvania's a no-fault state, I continue, pulling out another dress. But infidelity still matters for asset division, especially when there's clear documentation. My attorney was very interested in the timeline. I'll fight it. Her voice is desperate now. My parents. Your parents gave us $20,000 for the down payment. That's a gift, not a loan. Already confirmed with my attorney. I move to her blouses now, the ones that haven't been repaired yet. Everything else we split, except I'm keeping the house. You can't afford the house. I can refinance. You'll get your half of the equity, minus what the affair cost me. Therapy, attorney fees, the emotional distress. I pull out a white blouse, start on the seams. My attorney's very creative. She's staring at me like she doesn't know who I am. Good. I don't know who she is either anymore. What about the tailor shop? She asks suddenly. What did you do? I pause. Think about the super glue I applied to the door frame of Delancey Tailoring yesterday during their lunch rush. Think about the owner who will find his door sealed shut, the students who won't be able to get their repairs, the chaos it'll cause. Nothing, I say. Yet. Her eyes widen. She understands the threat. You're going to pay for your repairs, I tell her. Every single one. The tailor shop is going to send you a bill for damages, lost business, repairs they can't complete. You're going to pay it. I don't understand. You will. I finish the last blouse, set down the seam ripper. When they figure out who's been their Tuesday regular, when they realize the damage wasn't just to fabric, I walk past her, step over the pile of deconstructed clothes. Where are you going? She asks. Out. I grab my keys. I'm staying at a hotel tonight. My attorney will contact you tomorrow with the paperwork. Please. I stop at the door. Look back at her, sitting in a pile of torn fabric and broken promises. You wanted to know what comes next, I say. Here it is. You get to figure out how to put your life back together. One seam at a time. I close the door on her crying. The night air is cold, crystalline. My phone buzzes. A text from my attorney. Papers ready. Filing tomorrow morning. I get in my car, start the engine. Behind me, our house, my house soon, sits quiet in the darkness. Inside, Rebecca is learning what it means when everything unravels. The superglue takes 48 hours to fully cure. I know this because I read the instructions on the tube 3 times before I applied it, standing outside Delancey Tailoring at 12:47 p.m. on a Wednesday, watching through the window as the owner, a thin woman named Linda Lopez who I'd looked up on the business license posted inside, stepped out the back door for her lunch break. No, not Lopez. I need to get this right. Linda Parker. The owner's name was Linda Parker, and she left every day at 12:45 p.m. for exactly 30 minutes. I'd confirmed this on Tuesday, watching from my rental car parked across the street, taking notes like I was grading essays instead of planning vandalism. The glue went on smooth. Professional grade, the kind contractors use. I worked it into the door jamb, the lock mechanism, the hinges. Thorough, methodical. The same way I'd photographed Rebecca's phone, the same way I'd documented every repair receipt, every lie. I was back in my hotel room by 1:10 p.m. That was 6 days ago. Now I'm sitting in a conference room at Whitman & Associates, watching my attorney, James Whitman, 53, divorced twice himself, slide a manila folder across the table. The folder is thin. That seems like a bad sign. The tailor filed a police report, he says. I nod. I expected this. Vandalism, destruction of property. She's claiming $3,200 in lost revenue for the 2 days her shop was closed, plus $890 for a locksmith and door repair. He taps the folder. She's also identified you from security footage. The coffee I'm drinking tastes like aluminum. Security footage. From the restaurant next door. Their camera caught you approaching the shop entrance at 12:46 p.m. The timestamp matches when she discovered the damage. He pauses. You're wearing the same jacket you wore when you picked up your suit the week before. She recognized you immediately. I set down the coffee. My hands are steady. That surprises me. What does this mean for the divorce? It means Rebecca's attorney is going to use it. Whitman leans back, his chair creaking. They'll argue you're unstable, vengeful. They'll push for a more favorable asset split because you've demonstrated destructive behavior. I have screenshots of her sleeping with another man for 4 months. And she'll have a police report showing you committed a crime. He opens the folder, pulls out a single sheet. The DA's office is deciding whether to press charges. Misdemeanor vandalism, most likely. First offense, you're looking at a fine, maybe community service, but it'll be on your record. I think about Rebecca, standing in our bedroom surrounded by shredded fabric, her face blank with shock. I think about the seam ripper in my hand, the satisfying resistance of each thread as it separated. What about the house? I ask. Pennsylvania is an equitable distribution state, not community property. The court will divide assets based on fairness, not necessarily 50-50. He slides another document toward me. Her parents gave you $20,000 for the down payment. That's a gift, legally, unless they documented it as a loan. Did they? No. Then it's a gift. But Rebecca's attorney will argue she contributed to the household while pursuing her MBA. They'll want her to keep the house or force a sale and split the proceeds. She was screwing her study partner in hotel rooms I helped pay for. Doesn't matter. Pennsylvania is a no-fault divorce state. Adultery isn't a factor in asset division unless you can prove she spent marital funds on the affair. He meets my eyes. Can you? I think about Tyler Brennan, Goldman Sachs, the kind of man who doesn't need Rebecca to pay for hotel rooms. No, I say. Whitman nods, like this confirms something he already knew. Then we focus on what we can prove. You make $48,000 a year. She's currently unemployed, in school full-time. You've been the primary breadwinner for the past 6 months. That works in your favor. What about the clothes I destroyed? How much were they worth? I calculate quickly. 7 blouses, maybe $40 each from Target or wherever she shops. 2 pairs of pants. A skirt. Maybe $400. She could sue you in small claims court. Probably won't, because it draws attention to why you destroyed them. He closes the folder. But the tailor shop is the real problem. If the DA presses charges, if you're convicted, Rebecca's attorney will paint you as violent and irrational. That affects everything. Asset division, even your teaching position if the school board gets involved. The aluminum taste is back. I hadn't thought about the school board. What do? You pay the tailor. Today. Cash, if she'll take it. You apologize profusely, and you pray she drops the complaint. He stands, buttoning his jacket. And you stop doing stupid things. No more revenge, no more vandalism. You let me handle Rebecca, and you focus on keeping your job and your freedom. Linda Parker's shop is open when I arrive at 4:30 p.m. The door has been replaced, new wood, fresh paint, a deadbolt that looks like it could stop a battering ram. She's behind the counter, pinning a hem on a wedding dress. She looks up when the bell chimes, and her expression goes cold. You've got 30 seconds before I call the police, she says. I raise my hands, palms out. Non-threatening. I'm here to pay for the damage. All of it. She doesn't move. The bride, young, maybe 25, glances between us nervously. Stephanie, we're done for today, Linda says, not taking her eyes off me. Come back Friday for your final fitting. The bride gathers her things quickly, giving me a wide berth as she leaves. The bell chimes again. We're alone. $4,090, Linda says. That's what you cost me. Lost revenue, repairs, and a new security system because apparently I need cameras inside now, not just the restaurant next door. I pull out my checkbook. I'll write you a check right now. Cash. I don't carry $4,000 in cash. Then go to a bank. She crosses her arms. You think I'm going to trust a check from a man who superglued my door shut? Fair point. There's a Wells Fargo 2 blocks from here, I say. I can be back in 20 minutes. She studies me for a long moment. I can see her calculating, deciding whether this is a trick, whether I'll actually return. You've got 30 minutes, she finally says. After that, I'm calling Detective Bryant and telling him you showed up to intimidate me. I'm not here to intimidate you. Then what are you here for? I look at the sewing machine behind her, the spools of thread organized by color, the pin cushion shaped like a tomato. I think about Rebecca's blouses, each one carefully mended, each repair a small deception I missed. To fix what I broke, I say. She doesn't smile. 30 minutes. The bank teller counts out $4,100 bills with the mechanical precision of someone who's done this 10,000 times. She asks if I want an envelope. I say yes. When I return to Delancey Tailoring, Linda is waiting by the register. I hand her the envelope. She counts it twice, then writes me a receipt on a carbon copy form. This doesn't make us square, she says, tearing off my copy. You're still a criminal. I know. Why'd you do it? I could lie. I could say it was a mistake, a moment of insanity, anything that makes me sound less calculated. But I'm tired of lies. My wife was having an affair. You fixed her clothes after her boyfriend tore them. I wanted someone else to hurt the way I was hurting. Linda's expression doesn't change. And did it work? No. She nods, like this is the answer she expected. I've been doing this for 23 years. You know how many women bring me clothes torn in ways that don't make sense? Blouses with buttons missing, skirts with split seams, dresses with broken zippers. She pauses. I don't ask questions. It's not my business. Maybe it should be. Maybe. She slides the envelope into her register, locks it. But I'm a tailor, not a marriage counselor. People come to me to fix things. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. I look at the receipt in my hand. $4,100. Nearly a month's salary, gone. For what it's worth, I say, I'm sorry. Linda walks to the door, holds it open. I'm not the one you should be apologizing to. I step outside. The bell chimes behind me, final and dismissive. She's wrong, though. Rebecca doesn't deserve an apology, but Linda Parker does, and I've given her all I can. The preliminary hearing is scheduled for March 14th, 2 weeks after I write the restitution check. My attorney, a public defender named Jordan Walsh, who looks about 12 years old, meets me in the hallway outside courtroom 3B at the San Francisco Hall of Justice. They're offering a deal, he says, flipping through a manila folder. Plead to misdemeanor vandalism, 1-year probation, community service, and the restitution you already paid stands. What if I don't take it? Jordan glances at the folder. The security footage is pretty clear. You're on camera for 43 seconds. The DA's feeling generous because you paid immediately and you don't have priors. If we go to trial and lose, you're looking at possible jail time. Definitely a criminal record that'll cost you your teaching credential. I watch people filter into the courtroom. A woman in a business suit. An older man with a cane. the machinery of justice grinding through its Tuesday morning docket. Take the deal, I say. Jordan nods. Smart. The hearing lasts 7 minutes. I stand before Judge Patricia Nguyen, confirm my understanding of the plea agreement, and accept the terms. 120 hours of community service, 12 months probation, the restitution payment already made. The judge's voice is perfunctory, bored even. I'm case number 17 on her morning calendar. Outside, the fog has burned off. Jordan shakes my hand. Stay out of trouble, he says, and get a good divorce attorney, not a public defender. I fly back to Pennsylvania that afternoon. The plane touches down at 11:47 p.m. I take an Uber home because Rebecca still has my car, something I'll need to address with my actual divorce attorney whenever I hire one. The house is dark when I arrive. Rebecca's Civic isn't in the driveway. I let myself in, drop my bag in the entryway, and stand in the silence. My phone buzzes. A text from my brother Danny. Mom wants to know if you're coming to Sunday dinner. She's worried. I haven't told my family yet. Haven't told anyone except the tailor, the police, Jordan Walsh, and the judge. The affair exists in this strange bubble of knowledge. Rebecca knows I know, obviously, but we haven't spoken since I left for San Francisco. She's texted twice. Once asking where I was. Once saying we need to talk. I don't respond to Danny. Instead, I pull up the contact information for 3 divorce attorneys I researched on the plane. 2 in our county, 1 in Philadelphia with a reputation for high-asset cases. None of them are high-asset cases, but I want someone who knows how to fight. The first attorney's voicemail picks up. I don't leave a message. The second attorney, Stephanie Grant, 43 reviews on Avo, 4.8 stars, answers on the third ring despite it being nearly midnight. This is Stephanie. I need a divorce attorney, I say. My wife's been having an affair. I have documentation. And I just took a plea deal for vandalism in California that might complicate things. There's a pause. Are you calling from a secure location? I'm at home. She's not here. Don't say anything else on this call. My office hours start at 8. Come in at 8:30 tomorrow. Bring everything. Bank statements, mortgage documents, the documentation you mentioned, and any paperwork related to your California case. Okay? And don't talk to your wife. Not about the affair, not about assets, not about anything substantive. If she tries to engage, tell her you're consulting with an attorney and you'll communicate through counsel. Understood. She hangs up. I stand in my kitchen, our kitchen technically for now, and feel the weight of the next few months settle onto my shoulders. The discovery was surgical, precise. The revenge was cathartic, stupid. Now comes the part I've been dreading. The actual dissolution. The paperwork. The asset division. The public acknowledgement that the last 7 years were built on something that could be demolished in 4 months of Tuesday study sessions. I sleep in the guest room. Or try to. Mostly I stare at the ceiling and listen to the house settle around me. Rebecca comes home at 6:47 a.m. I hear her key in the lock, her footsteps in the hallway. She pauses outside the guest room door. You're back, she says through the wood. I don't answer. We need to talk about this. I'm consulting with an attorney, I say, remembering Stephanie's instructions. We'll communicate through counsel. Jesus Christ, you can't be serious. I sit up in bed. I'm completely serious. Over what? Some stupid mistakes? You're going to throw away 10 years over 4 months, I say. Not some. 4 months of deliberate, repeated choices. I want to explain. There's nothing to explain. I saw the messages. I saw the photos. I saw the repair tickets from the tailor shop where you were getting your clothes fixed after he ripped them. Silence. Then, you went through my clothes? The audacity is almost impressive. You're upset that I went through your clothes. That's a violation of, get out of the doorway, Rebecca. This is my house, too. For now, I say. But I'm meeting with an attorney at 8:30, and after that, we'll see how long that lasts. She doesn't move. I can see her shadow under the door, backlit by the hallway light. Tyler and I are over, she says quietly. If that matters? It doesn't. He said he couldn't do this anymore, the sneaking around. He has a career to think about. I laugh. Actually laugh. He dumped you. We mutually agreed. He dumped you, and now you want to come back here and work on us or whatever script you've been rehearsing. That's not fair. You're right, I say. What's fair is you spent 4 months sleeping with someone else while I was coaching JV basketball and grading essays. What's fair is you let me kiss you goodnight on Tuesdays after you'd been with him. What's fair is you looked me in the eye and lied about study groups while you were getting your blouses repaired because he couldn't keep his hands off you. I made a mistake. Mistakes are singular. This was a pattern. Her shadow shifts. I'm not leaving this house. Fine, I'll stay in the guest room until the attorney tells me otherwise. But we're done, Rebecca. Start processing that. She stands there for another 30 seconds. Then I hear her footsteps retreat down the hallway. A door closes. The shower starts running. I check my phone. 6:52 a.m. An hour and 38 minutes until my appointment with Stephanie Grant. I get dressed in yesterday's clothes, make coffee, and sit at the kitchen table with my laptop. The folder I created in San Francisco, Evidence 2024, sits in my downloads. I copy it to a thumb drive, then copy it again to a second thumb drive. Redundancy. Belt and suspenders. At 7:15, Rebecca emerges from the bedroom in her Navy interview suit, the one she wore to her MBA orientation. She's done her makeup carefully, mascara and lipstick, the armor of professional competence. I'm going to campus, she says. Okay. I have class until 3. Okay. She waits, like I'm supposed to say something else. Ask about her day, wish her luck. Perform the small rituals of domestic partnership. I sip my coffee. She leaves. Stephanie Grant's office is in a converted Victorian in downtown Harrisburg, 3rd floor, with a reception area that smells like lavender and old wood. The receptionist, a woman in her 60s with reading glasses on a chain, takes my name and offers me coffee. She's running 5 minutes behind, the receptionist says. Court ran long yesterday. I sit in a leather chair and flip through a copy of Pennsylvania Lawyer magazine without reading it. At 8:37, Stephanie emerges from an inner office. She's shorter than I expected from her voice, maybe 5'4", with graying blonde hair pulled into a bun and the kind of handshake that means business. Come on back, she says. Her office overlooks the street. Diplomas on the wall, Penn State undergrad, Villanova Law. A photo of 2 teenagers in soccer uniforms. A shelf full of Pennsylvania statutes. Tell me everything, she says, pulling out a legal pad. Start from the beginning. So I do. The divorce took 8 months to finalize. 8 months of depositions and asset inventories and arguments over who got the KitchenAid mixer. 8 months of Rebecca's attorney, a man named Paul Garrett, who wore expensive suits and spoke in the measured tones of someone who'd done this 1,000 times, trying to paint me as unstable, vengeful, a man who'd committed crimes out of spite. He wasn't wrong exactly, but Stephanie was better. She presented the affair timeline with surgical precision. The hotel receipts Tyler had carelessly sent Rebecca for her records. The text messages I'd screenshotted. The repair tickets from Delancey Tailoring that matched, date for date, with Rebecca's claimed study sessions. By the time Stephanie finished her presentation at the settlement conference in October, even Paul Garrett looked tired. Your client committed adultery for 4 months, Stephanie said, her voice calm and factual. She used marital funds, the joint checking account my client contributed to, for transportation to and from these encounters. She lied repeatedly and deliberately. Pennsylvania may be a no-fault state, but the court still considers conduct when determining equitable distribution. Paul tried to pivot to my vandalism conviction. Stephanie was ready. My client paid full restitution immediately. He completed his community service in 6 weeks instead of the allotted 6 months. He attended anger management counseling voluntarily. Meanwhile, your client has shown no remorse, no accountability, and no willingness to acknowledge the harm she caused. We settled that afternoon. I kept the house, refinanced to buy out Rebecca's equity. She took her car, half the savings, and the furniture from the living room. The KitchenAid mixer stayed with me, which felt like a small, petty victory I didn't actually care about. The final decree was signed November 18th, 3 days before Thanksgiving. Rebecca moved to Pittsburgh in December. I heard this from her sister, who called me once to apologize for everything that happened. She said Rebecca got a job at a consulting firm, finished her MBA online, was doing okay, all things considered. I thanked her for calling and asked her not to call again. Tyler Brennan, according to LinkedIn, which I checked exactly once in a moment of weakness, made partner at Goldman Sachs. His profile picture showed him at some charity gala, arm around a woman who wasn't Rebecca. The algorithm suggested I might know him. I clicked "Not interested" and closed the browser. The community service took me to a food bank in Harrisburg, where I spent Saturday mornings sorting donations and loading boxes. The other volunteers didn't ask why I was there. We worked in companionable silence, moving cans and packages from pallets to shelves, performing the small mechanical task of putting things in order. On my last Saturday, the coordinator, a retired teacher named Margaret, shook my hand and said, "You're good at this. You should come back sometime, even though you don't have to." I said I'd think about it. I went back the following Saturday, and the one after that. The anger management counselor I'd hired, part of my voluntary rehabilitation, as Stephanie called it, was a woman named Dr. Lisa Park. She had an office in a medical complex near the high school where I taught, which made Tuesday appointments convenient. The irony of Tuesday appointments wasn't lost on me. "Tell me about the vandalism," she said during our first session. "I glued a tailor shop door shut because my wife was getting her clothes repaired there after her boyfriend tore them." Dr. Park wrote something in her notebook. "And how did that make you feel? The vandalism?" "Powerful, for about 10 minutes, then stupid." "And now?" "Ashamed," I said. "The tailor didn't do anything wrong. She was just fixing clothes. I punished her for something my wife did." "What would you do differently?" I thought about this. I'd have walked away from all of it. The moment I saw the first message, I should have packed a bag and left. "Why didn't you?" "Because I wanted her to hurt the way I was hurting. I wanted evidence. I wanted to prove I was right and she was wrong." I paused. "I wanted to win." "Did you?" I looked at the diplomas on her wall, the stock photo of a beach at sunset, the box of tissues strategically placed on the side table. "No," I said. "Nobody won." I saw Rebecca one more time, by accident, in March. I was at Target buying groceries when I spotted her in the cleaning supplies aisle. She'd cut her hair short, dyed it darker. She looked thinner, tired. We made eye contact. For a moment, I thought she might approach me, try to have some kind of closure conversation. Instead, she turned her cart around and walked the other way. I finished my shopping and left. In the parking lot, sitting in my car, I felt nothing. Not anger, not sadness, not even relief. Just the quiet recognition that she'd become a stranger again. The girl I'd loved at 16, the woman I'd married at 25, the person who'd shared my bed for 7 years. All of it had dissolved into this. 2 people in a Target, avoiding each other in the cleaning aisle. I drove home and made dinner. Spaghetti, sauce from a jar, garlic bread. I ate at the kitchen table, alone, and it was fine. By summer, the house felt like mine. I'd repainted the bedroom, replaced the furniture Rebecca had taken, hung new pictures. The guest room became an office. I bought a better coffee maker. Small changes that added up to something different. The JV basketball team had a decent season. Not great, but we won more than we lost, and 3 of my players made varsity the following year. I started a history club for students interested in primary source research. It met on Thursdays after school, and by May, we had 12 regular members. On Tuesdays, I went to the food bank. Dr. Park and I met every other week now, maintenance sessions. We talked less about Rebecca and more about patterns, how I processed anger, how I made decisions under stress, how to recognize when I was spiraling into destructive thinking. "You've done good work," she told me in our June session. "Real growth." I destroyed someone's business because I was angry at my wife. And you took responsibility. You paid restitution. You did the work to understand why you made that choice. She closed her notebook. "That's not nothing. It doesn't undo what I did." "No," she agreed. "But that's not the point. You can't undo the past. You can only choose differently going forward." In August, Linda Parker sent me a letter. It arrived in a plain white envelope, my address written in careful cursive. Inside was a single page on Delancey tailoring letterhead. "Dear Mr. Whitfield, I'm writing to inform you that I've decided to drop the civil complaint against you. Your restitution payment covered my damages, and I've spent enough time being angry about what happened. I won't pretend to understand what you were going through, but I recognize that hurt people hurt people. I hope you found better ways to deal with your pain. I also hope you've learned that other people's lives aren't collateral damage for your personal crisis. The 2 days my shop was closed affected more than just me. I had customers who needed alterations for weddings, job interviews, funerals. Your actions rippled out in ways you probably never considered. I'm not writing this to make you feel worse. I'm writing because I think you need to hear it. What you did mattered. Not just to me, but to people you'll never meet. Remember that the next time you're tempted to break something because you're broken. Respectfully, Linda Parker." I read the letter 3 times. Then I folded it carefully and put it in my desk drawer next to the divorce decree and the community service completion certificate. She was right about all of it. The school year started in September. New students, new lesson plans, the familiar rhythm of attendance and homework and parent-teacher conferences. I was assigned a student teacher, a nervous 23-year-old named Kyle who wanted to make history relevant and engaging. "How do you do it?" he asked me one afternoon, watching me grade essays. "Make them care about stuff that happened 200 years ago?" "You show them the patterns," I said. "How people make the same mistakes over and over. How we hurt each other in the same ways. How sometimes we learn and sometimes we don't." "Sounds depressing." "It is," I agreed. "But sometimes people surprise you. Sometimes they actually grow." Kyle looked skeptical. He was young enough to still believe people were fundamentally good or fundamentally bad, that choices defined character in simple ways. I didn't try to convince him otherwise. He'd learn. On a Tuesday in October, 1 year after the divorce was finalized, I was at the food bank sorting canned goods when Margaret approached me. "We're starting a mentorship program," she said, "pairing volunteers with high school students who need community service hours. You interested?" "What would it involve?" "Supervising them here on Saturdays, teaching them the systems. Basically what you do now, but with teenagers asking questions." I thought about my history club, about Kyle, my student teacher, about the patterns we repeat until we learn to break them. "Yeah," I said, "I'm interested." The following Saturday, I met my first mentee, a 17-year-old named Chris who'd been caught spray painting an overpass. He was sullen, angry, convinced the world was against him. I recognized the look. I'd seen it in the mirror. "You're going to sort donations," I told him. "Canned vegetables on the left, fruits on the right, soups in the middle. Think you can handle that?" "This is stupid," he muttered. "Probably," I agreed. "Do it anyway." We worked in silence for 20 minutes. Then Chris asked, "Why are you here? You get caught doing something?" "Yeah," I said. "What did you do?" I thought about lying, making it sound less pathetic. But Dr. Park's voice was in my head. Honesty, even when it's uncomfortable. I vandalized a business because I was angry at someone else, hurt a person who didn't deserve it, had to learn to live with that. Chris looked at me differently then. Less dismissive. "Did you? Learn to live with it?" "I'm working on it," I said. "Every Tuesday." The truth is, I think about Rebecca sometimes. Not often, and not the way I used to. I don't wonder what she's doing or who she's with. I don't fantasize about revenge or reconciliation. Mostly I think about the moment I saw that first text message, the fork in the road where I could have chosen differently. I could have confronted her immediately, angry and raw. I could have walked away without a word. I could have suggested counseling, tried to understand. Instead, I chose documentation, evidence, control. And when that wasn't enough, I chose destruction. I can't undo those choices. Can't unsend the screenshots to my attorney. Can't unglue Linda Parker's door. Can't unshred Rebecca's clothes. The consequences are permanent. A criminal record, a failed marriage, a year of my life consumed by anger and litigation. But I can choose differently now. I can show up at the food bank every Tuesday and sort canned goods with teenagers who need to learn that mistakes don't define you. How you respond to them does. I can teach my students about historical patterns while recognizing my own. I can sit in Dr. Park's office and do the uncomfortable work of understanding why I made the choices I made. I can read Linda Parker's letter and accept that I caused harm, that my pain doesn't excuse hurting others, that being wronged doesn't give me the right to wrong someone else. This is the lesson I was supposed to learn, the one that took a marriage, a crime, and 8 months of legal proceedings to finally understand. You can't control other people. You can't make them love you, stay faithful, choose you. All you can control is yourself, your reactions, your choices, the person you decide to be when everything falls apart. I chose poorly. I let anger drive me to actions I'm ashamed of. I hurt people who didn't deserve it because I was hurting. But I'm choosing better now. And maybe that's not redemption. Maybe it's just responsibility. But it's something I can live with, one Tuesday at a time, sorting cans and teaching teenagers and slowly, carefully, learning to be the kind of man who doesn't break things when he's broken. The scar tissue is still there. Probably always will be. But scars are just proof that something healed, even if it healed imperfectly. I'm learning to live with imperfect. It's the only honest option I have left.